Okay. So hello and welcome. Let me invite you to explore generative systems in art and design. So this was a video teaser by the On-Formative Studio done for their book and lecture Gestaltung. A quick disclaimer, I'm not paid or sponsored in any ways, unfortunately, by them to show their stuff. But I thought it was a good reference for this introduction. And as we saw, many of these examples were digital, although we are not restricted to digital when it comes to generative systems. Here we have Autonomous System. It's a piece by Echo Young, and these artists basically transform these obsolete objects like an old toy or an old Walkman, and he deconstructs those objects, transforming them in autonomous machines, in autonomous drawing devices, generative examples without going digital. But what does it mean, generative art, and what about generative design? To answer this question, Galanter in 2003 described generative art as any art practice where the artist uses a system, such as a set of rules, with some degree of autonomy to result or contribute to a completed work of art. Now, if we swap this word art to design, we have our both definitions. In this case, generative design would be any design practice where the designer uses a system, such as a set of rules, which sets into motion with some degree of autonomy, leading or at least contributing to our final completed design. So now we know what is generative art, we know what is generative design. We are able to detect if we are in the presence of a generative system or not. We know we need a system, such as a set of rules, and if I have that, it will be great. We need to set them into motion with some degree of autonomy to contribute or lead, resulting into our work of art or complete design piece. And this is true in analog and digital world. Basically, and following this example of Echo Young, we need to deconstruct this Walkman, open its lid, connect with different elements like charcoal, pencil, and we do exactly the same in digital world, but with logical elements. We set them into motion to achieve our work of art, to achieve our final piece. And even though we are not limited to digital, computers do offer countless possibilities, and not just within the screen. And that's where it gets interesting. Michael Knoll, it was a visionary, an engineer working for Bell Systems, and a pioneer in generative art using computer. He described it, the computer, as an active partner, not just as an inanimate tool, but as an intellectual partner to produce new art forms, to produce new aesthetic experiences. For instance, here we see one of his autonomous systems repeating sinusoids in parallel to create an optical illusion. And by the way, this is very common at the time in the 60s because of op art movement, or even here, inspired by Mondrian paintings, he created another autonomous system to generate random patterns. And this was back in the day, this was in the 60s, where the access to computer, it was extremely difficult. You need to be either an engineer or somehow connected with the scientific community. Although a handful of artists started to explore with these generative systems in art. And guess what? One of these artists was a Czech painter. Zdeněk Sikora started to work with these generative systems. He saw on computation an opportunity to achieve new aesthetic experiences, new aesthetic results. Here we have one of his first iterations with computer, the gray structure, geometric abstract painting. And to do this, he, with the help of a professor, Jaroslav Blažek, a mathematician, would create a set of rules that then would be set into motion to create, or at least to influence, his art pieces, his art works. So you see, we started to acknowledge, we start to see this connection that this artist, Sikora, was already using the computer as this active partner that Knoll was talking about earlier. Then, in the 70s, he changed some of his parameters, some of his rules, and we saw a big shift in his paintings. Not so much these geometric abstract paintings, but a more organic composition, done only with lines. For instance, you'd use the output values of computer to change the thickness of his brush while he was painting. And this is amazing. We are talking about 60s, 70s, 80s, and so on. And between these dates, since 60s until nowadays, many things had changed. And with this, computer as well. Different form factors, different technologies, new features. But still, we use computer nowadays. And maybe more than ever, everyone has a personal computer. Now it's our connection to the world. It gives us, in some way, freedom to learn, to explore, while in constant communication. But at the same time, we are its prisoners, trapped in its filters, limited to its features. And those features, especially when we are talking about digital tools, design digital tools like Photoshop, Illustrator, and don't get me wrong, I love new features, I love new filters. In fact, I believe they allow us to try new things, to try new paths. But those features, even though they allow us to explore, and even if we look back to our past, we see that designers, artists, started to try new complex compositions, try to new visual languages, for instance with the opacity feature. Or when the image manipulation features became available, we started to see a radical shift in the visual language, more radical, less discreet, even in the magazines. So I guess what I'm trying to say is new features, new plugins, new filters, they are essentially a good thing. They allow us to try at least new visual language, to try new aesthetic innovations. But those exactly same features are our biggest limitation. We are limited to its features, to its software, to its interface, and ultimately to its medium. Although, through coding, through computation, we are able to create our own rules, we are able to create our own world, our own behaviors. And of course you can argue, so what? What's the problem with Photoshop? What is the problem with Illustrator and tools and digital tools like that? I'm really thirsty. I shouldn't drink so much coffee. God damn it. So what's the problem? And there is no big problem, or there is many problems with the tools, but I mean, there is not so big problem with those tools. I use it every day, but we are always designing, we are always creating above a default grid of features, above a default grid of operations, limited to those tools. Basically, what I'm trying to say is there is a difference between having a computer as a tool to use Photoshop, to use Illustrator, and having a computer as a tool to create through computation. And to do so, we can use any programming language, any programming environment. However, I would recommend one of these three, for instance. They are pretty friendly, especially when you are trying to achieve visual outcomes or even multimedia installations. For instance, with processing is the one that I'm more familiar. It's built upon Java, but you are able to code on it without the need to call all those Java classes that really don't influence what you are trying to accomplish. Then we have open frameworks or even VVVV. And this one, it's very interesting because it allows you to code visually. Basically, these logical elements, these logical blocks, are actually visual blocks on your screen, and when you try to create behaviors, you can just attach one string to another block, and poof, you have your behavior. So it's really interesting, these new tools that are emerging. In fact, VV is not so old, but you got what I mean. But we can always say we create with Photoshop, we create with Illustrator. We are not just using that tool. There are a bunch of artists creating every day artworks. Me, myself, I design with Photoshop. But again, we are going back to that point. We design above that default grid of operations, of features. So we are limited since the moment we sit in front of our computer. And this is not bad, per se. It depends on your project. We are not here trying to find out what is the best and what is the worst. But we are trying to find out what is the best for your project. So let's imagine if I was designing a book, maybe creating a generative system wouldn't give me any extra advantage. It even may give me a disadvantage with it. At the same time, if I'm designing a series of landscape of scenarios for a mobile game, doing this in a generative approach, becoming a generative piece, to be able to interact with the game engine, with the game player, then we are talking about. So you see, it depends on the project. And to illustrate this process, a few years ago, I was extremely obsessed with organic forms. So I set out and I started to document every single flower, every single plant that I would encounter in every single day, taking photos, documenting it, looking at it closely, analyzing, studying each different aesthetic detail to understand what I could do in an autonomous system, inspired in Flora. So I was really addicted to these organic forms, but special the ones that you can find in Flora. And so I started to conceptualize, I started to create these rules that I wish my autonomous system had. But how to do it? How go from these static individual rules to an autonomous system? And this was really difficult for me, I must say. Basically, I needed to turn them into dynamic rules. Instead of being individual block of ideas, of concepts, they would be interconnected, surrounded by constraints, by behaviors belonging to a bigger image, to a bigger picture, to a bigger system, our autonomous system. And with this, I started to have my first attempts. And as many, or the majority of first attempts, they were not pretty interesting or even smart. But it's okay, it was my first attempt. And I realized that I was not doing it alone. You see, as Sikra was doing, as Noel was doing, I was using computer as his active partner. So I needed to take advantage of this autonomy that I had created. So new opportunities started to come up. And this happened, for instance, when I would specify wrongly a rule, and I would see unexpected results, unexpected behaviors, even glitches, and instead of trying to correct them, I would stop, analyze, and see, wait, is it possible to use this glitch as a feature? Is it possible to explore even furthermore this glitch and transform it in a feature of my system and enhance it? The same with unexpected interactions. For instance, I would have 2, 3 constraints to control some case scenarios, and I would completely forgot that, wait, these constraints are also alive and they communicate each other. So unexpected interaction would start to emerge from that constraints, and again, it would be a new opportunity for me to realize, wait, there is a new option, there is a new path that I can follow. You see, I was using this autonomous system to create a series of art pieces that in otherwise I wouldn't be able by myself. There is always space for random. Random is good. Randomness forces you to be open-minded, to accept or reject any single result, but be open-minded. Understand it, study it, and let your creativity grow with your system. And with this, many sketches started to appear, different styles, but always inspired in flora. For instance, I was really interested in this dandelion, and not just about the static dandelion result, but between this and this state, when you blow the dandelion, what happens? That motion, can we capture it? Can we push back to our autonomous system? And so I started to have this series of sketches simulating this motion, even though they are static images, they are inspired, they are born from that series of photos. Or even here, I was really delighted by these swirled forms, by these fluid forms. And so we have our series of swirled creatures coming alive with motion, with behavior. Or even here, I was not so concerned about the flower as an element, but as that petal, as main visual element in a composition. How we can make it in so dramatic, so as a main element in our composition that would come to life, almost growing in a radical approach throughout our screen, and not just throughout our screen, as we are going to see later. Or here in this photography, which is a little bit more heavy, more dramatic photography, a little bit more grayish, I use that opportunity not just from the inspiration, but again from that unexpected interactions, from that unexpected glitches, and I explore totally different visual path, almost comic alike, with high saturation, with high contrast. You see, the image is totally static. It's not moving, but we have almost the sense that we are pushed back to the center, and as well as trying with this growth metaphor, growing in something else, growing in something more abstractive. Or here, I was studying, I was really looking closely to these horns on the first picture, but also with that strong color, with that round shape that you have in the drop water, or even in that round shapes in the last photo in the bottom, to create something much more discreet, with a lot of white space to breathe, but yet strong enough to stand up still by itself, or even here, or even here. And this is an application of one of these organic forms to a poster of one of my exhibitions back in Portugal. And we started to see these applications to design, not just in art, as a result of this exploration, of exploring these glitches, of exploring these unexpected behaviors. So do it as I did. Create your own, explore. It doesn't matter the outcome. At first, just explore, try to find an inspiration, something that you like, and explore, because the future is even brighter. It doesn't matter if you want to do artworks, installations, optical illusions, or even if you are doing that generative landscape, that generative scenarios from that mobile game. Maybe it's an explosion. It doesn't matter. Even it's screensaver. Just explore, try by yourself, because now the future is brighter with open source hardware. And I must be honest, I'm kind of a newbie in open source hardware. But I remember a few years ago, I was playing around with one of these sketches, and I asked help of my brother, because he's like electronic guy. And at the beginning, I wanted to be a static image, like almost as a painting. And he said, you know what? We could put some motion sensors on these and try to see what is going on. And suddenly we started to see different visual patterns just with this change, just changing the input source signal. Instead of being just an autonomous algorithm and showing our visual result, putting into place this input source, this motion input source, and see what happens. And suddenly we have an interactive sketch with different visual patterns. Or even here, this is one of my collaborations with the online clothing Zoot shop here in Czech Republic. And basically, we were discussing about the image of the brand, especially when we are opening new pickup points. Basically, Zoot, I don't know if you know, Zoot is an online shop. You can buy online, and then you have different pickup points to pick up your clothes, not just here in Prague. And with this in mind, we start to discuss that, wait, Zoot in fact is alive just because of the users, just because of our community, our Zooters that turn this into life. And having this in mind, and inspired in the old-fashioned TV, in this nostalgia white noise that you find in the old-fashioned TV, we create this interactive sketch that you'd enter in this pickup point. You'd have this LCD with this interactive screen. These little zooters, these black points, would go around the interactive screen, and then always giving white space to the brand to emerge from the center of the screen. But when you'd go and pick up your clothes, you'd be recognized by your face, and all these zooters would spread out and reunited in one single point, drawing your face with a welcome message. And then we were even talking that could be even with Votion information or point information. This even Ladislav is the owner. So you see, we see many applications of these generative systems, not just in art, but as well as in design, through these interactive installations. But even in mobile, we were talking about this mobile game with these generative scenarios that could even react with a gameplay or with a game player. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, now it's up to you, Brainiacs, to do something extremely awesome much better than this. These were just examples to understand what I'm talking about. So thank you very much to listen me. I'm Pedro. This is my site. You can go there to have access to my email, or you can just access Juissimo. It's currently where I'm working, collaborating. So thank you so much for your time. Whoa, yes, cool.
Thank you again.
Yeah, thank you. I can frame it.
Any questions?
Yeah, and sorry if I was too quickly. I really took too much coffee. I don't know, because it's a little bit late and I needed to take this coffee. So kind of, I think I last half time I should, but never mind.
Do you have some sort of examples or something practical to show us how you do these things? Like the code or the tools?
Yeah. Basically, I use processing. In all those examples where it was just processing, and I don't have here with me, but I can explain. I have in my external disk. Never mind. Quick error. So basically, it's all processing, and I can just even. For instance, I don't know. Even all these, for instance, this image that is always in the background of this message. This was with processing, but using IGO library, I think, which allow me to work in 3D. So basically, this is all 3D, but it's a rendering in a way that that you achieve this almost comical-like style. Or with these organic forms, I work a lot with swarm behaviors, which means you know what it means. You know what it means, yeah. So it's like with flocking, with swarm behaviors, and basically I was trying to achieve this result by simulating that each and different pixel, colored pixel, would be a different creature, almost as a different bird, and these birds would interact. So you see, in fact, all these I have this emotion, this animation, these frames of animation, because they would interact. In fact, if you give me, I think I have it here. Because I didn't want to show, first because I didn't want to show off, and second, because I didn't know if I had time to show these videos, yes, so I thought it was stupid. So I thought, never mind, I will just show some frames and it will be enough. Sad. Yeah, so basically it was, and this video sucks, yeah. Just to warn, yeah. Yeah, cool. So it's perfect. wait. I did nothing. I don't know how to split my screen. Oh, I don't know.
You can drag it out probably.
Drag it out. Cool. Yo, cool. Yeah, and now I don't see. Yeah, cool. Well, no, this is so not user friendly. Wait, I'm almost. No. This is.
The other side.
Wait, I believe in myself. Yes. Wait, can I do spacebar? So it sucks. Please ignore this part. Because this was a video done to a conference, yeah, to a really technical conference, which is SIGGRAPH. I don't know if you know. And basically, yeah. So basically, it's it was really technical. So I didn't need to be like really beautiful. I didn't need to be much more about documenting the process. So that's it. I was analyzing the forms. I was saying this was like the rules, many of my ideas. By the way, the music is also generated by computer. Really? Sorry? I hope so. No, it wasn't. But I think at the end we have in the credits, so you can check it out. So you see, I had always, you know, these motion reactions, these motion behaviors. I also tried with these motion sensors. And sorry, I forgot the question. What was the question? But it's okay, yeah. Cool. That's the thing. That part was my brother, yeah. Sorry to... Because... No, all these are... not all these, but the majority of these, maybe... these reds, no. These red have input source from, like, external input source. But all the others are done just with autonomous system, without... like, I don't know, without touching or whatever. Yeah, that's it. And I have also others from the other stuff, but I think you got the idea. Yeah, so basically in these organic forms it was more about flocking and so on. Then, I don't know, but maybe it wasn't, you know. Like I have another examples from organic forms, it was more about Arab patterns. So I don't know, it depends. I have different series. So I don't know if I answered or... That's it. Yeah. Thanks. Yes. You are going to allow me to interact with this like this, or? Okay, cool. Yes. So just search my name, Pedro Pinto Silva. Yes. Or can you repeat, please? Yes, in this exhibition with organic forms, one of specialties, you don't see, okay, specialties red one, and also the jellyfish, may I change? Is okay change or, never mind. So, when everything fails. So, yeah, and it was interactive, like with that motion sensors through Arduino. But again, this part, it was not my, like it was not my cup of tea. It was more from my brother, unfortunately. Like I programmed all the, everything on processing. It was me, and then these things, and I also did for instance the Zoot prototype. It's functioning through like webcam, for instance, and it's interactive. Sorry, no. It was through processing using OpenCV. Yes. Exactly. That's it. Without, in the time I was really poor. You know what I can do. So that's it. With the webcam, I just tried to do the prototype, and they love it. That's how it was. Yeah. Okay. Thanks. So that's it. Thanks for your question. That's it. We don't have chocolates at the end. I thought you had chocolates. So tell me.
Was Lubridel in the audio based on the same input?
No. I should say yes. It was. I really thought no. I did this video with I was not sleeping already for 3 nights. It was really because I was like applying for many like papers and conferences and so on, and so that's it. Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah. Thanks.